Well, g'day guys, how you going? Declan from Elross Caravans. Well, we're here at the beautiful Olive Hill Farm, which is about 12 k's just south of Margaret River. And today we're going to be giving you a little bit of an insight into us using an Elross Caravan in the free camp area. So let's get started. Alright, so it's about 8 o'clock in the evening. I've just put little Maverick down to sleep, so we've got to keep the noise down, and when we go inside the van we won't really be able to show you too much because we don't want to disturb him. However, a little bit of a background on this caravan here. Now, it is a 2018 Elross. It's our very first family van that we ever built, and so obviously we've kept it within the Elross stables, and Regan, my brother, uses it. I use it on the very seldom occasions as well. So this is a little bit of an older generation van, so it's a little bit of a disclaimer. So there's a lot of features that are in this vehicle that we actually don't do anymore, or we've up spec. So this is actually a very low spec compared to a lot of the equipment that we produce in today's day and age. However, it's still a good basis to show you some of the ins and outs of an Elross Caravan in the free camp space. Okay, so one of the standout things that you'll see on this side of the van is we installed a My 95 litre dual zone fridge. Now, being a family van, it's a twin bunk, so we have plenty of space under this bunk here to fit a My fridge, which is dual zone, so one side is fridge, one side is freezer, or you can combine the both and do a fridge. In this case it works really well. It's something that I would have on future vans if I was to construct another van, which, cat's out of the bag, we are constructing a new build to be a little bit more modern that we can showcase in 2025 when we do a little bit of a bigger trip. However, yeah, one of these I would definitely recommend if you're doing a family van, because it just gives you a lot more fridge space, as well as having your standard 190 or 230 inside the van. Just gives you that little bit of extra room. So that's one standout feature. This time of night it's really good to showcase the bug lights as well. So we've got plenty of light in this dusk environment with just 2 of these bug lights on, and they don't consume too much power as well. And speaking of power, the battery system and off-grid package that's in this vehicle is of a very low spec compared to anything that we do these days. So in this environment we've got to be fairly careful with how we use our power during the evening times. In terms of a battery system, this one's only fitted with a 240 amp hour lithium battery system is fitted to this van, so it's very low compared to a lot of the off-grid systems that we fit, which are routinely 400 amp hours and 600 amp hours these days. So in terms of power generation, we have to make sure that we're being pretty savvy with that. In terms of solar on the roof, you're looking at 600 watts on this fan as well, so that's sort of in line with what we do still today with the modern day Elrosses that we're producing at the factory. So from that perspective, it's very similar. So you'll see that how I've set up the awning on here. We're only staying at this free camp spot for 2 to 3 nights, so it's not going to be somewhere that we're set up for a long period of time. Otherwise I'd set up the annex walls and I'd probably tether down the awning a little bit better than what I have here, but as a temporary setup it's totally fine. We've got a peg set up here with the clip-ons. So if you don't have a setup like this, very much recommend that you can go to any place like Kamek or Coast to Coast or someone like that that stores it, even BCF, because these are really handy to just peg down and give that extra bit of stability with your Carefree awning. Really simple to set up with the Carefree awnings as well. You can set this sort of stuff up in as little as 2 to 3 minutes. If Acacia pans down, we've got these ProTrek floor mats as well. I've just got in about 100 of them at the Elross factory now as well. So we're selling these with your van. If you'd like to additionally purchase one, just contact the team. They're about $200 roughly off the top of my head. You just have to check with the sales team for confirmation on exact pricing, but I'm pretty sure that's where it was about at, was about $200 for those. So really handy to have because you can have heaps of sand and all that sort of stuff, and it'll just drop through. So it's really good for kids as well if they want to play on something, so they're not getting filthy and dirty as well, and you're not trampling all the stuff into the vehicle as well. We used to have an outdoor kitchen, and it was a very early iteration of our Elross side-out kitchen that we built ourselves. So it used to be fitted with gas and all that sort of stuff. So currently there's nothing in there, so there's not much to show. But when we do come time to part ways with this van, we'll probably fit it with a new kitchen for the new recipient of this van when we do come time to selling it. So yeah, so there's nothing much to show there. Obviously we have changed quite significantly our toolbox style. So this was one of the version 1 generations with the lid on top. It's not as easy to access that area, so that's why we don't do those style of toolboxes anymore. And then the light's pretty bad out here, so I won't spend too long. But we've got a Boss jockey leg here. This has been going for just on 5 years now. Still going really strong, really simple to set up. Just when I was setting up here at camp before, someone came across because it was set up and off the car in just a matter of minutes. So they wanted to know what it was because they'd not seen one before, which surprised me actually. But yeah, so really popular addition to your van is the Boss jockey leg DO35, which hasn't failed us for forever and a day now with all the vehicles as well. And then I've got a Covix hitch lock on there as well. Not that you probably need it at this free camp spot, but you just never know. So I always put a hitch lock on when we're parked up for the evening as well. Dual jerry can holders are also on the front. And then this van's actually got 2 9-kilo gas bottles on there as well. In terms of hot water system, this is instantaneous. So it's the Suburban Nautilus that's on this. Works really well, works really good. Being an on-demand system as well, you're only using the gas you need. So for this to not have any exterior cooking, and it's only got an induction cooktop working off the inverter as well, it's not necessary for 2 9-kilo bottles on this. That'd last over a year in the manner that we use it and for how long we use it. So that's another reason why we only use 4.5-kilo gas bottles in a lot of vehicles these days too. Probably one of the best features, and this is for me, modern person, younger I suppose, and it's not for everyone, but I wouldn't be anywhere without Starlink these days as well. And same thing, took a couple of minutes to set up. This van, however, doesn't have any of the pass-through or anything because this was built such a long time ago before we started doing pass-throughs. But yeah, the Starlink in this case is enabling us to bring you this video while we are away, because we actually don't have any reception at all in this area. Quickly in the back here, we've just got an additional light. We've also got a reverse camera up the top there, and then also the radio antenna as well, because this one is fitted with a radio on board this vehicle. In terms of a sound system, we do have a bit of a different sound system in this one, so it's got a sound bar and internal speakers as well. And that really concludes the exterior. Water holding, two 120 litre water tanks, 95 litre grey, and obviously this free camp spot, we can't be here unless we're self-contained as well, so cassette toilet and all that sort of stuff on board there as well. In terms of suspension as well, because I haven't mentioned that, it's XT, but it's just the XT coil, so you know, this is by far and away miles away from the equipment that we supply to your lucky customers these days, but it still gets the job done. It was just, you know, this is just a lower spec level compared to what we can routinely achieve now. In terms of towing, this van tows phenomenally well. Well balanced chassis, well thought out in terms of weight balance and placement inside the van with some of the bed option and also the bunk area, as well as putting the fridge down the back as well. And I'm towing this with the D-Max as well, which is not the usual tow vehicle that I would tow a caravan with, but in this case, for what we're doing this weekend, it was totally acceptable. And that suspension on that is not really set up adequately for long-term towing, but it still tows this phenomenally well. Switch out the light from bug light to white light, so you can see that it's very, very bright. This will give us a little bit better view inside, because I just wanted to show you additionally on the awning we've set up just a clothesline. All this is just carabiner setup that you can get from Bunnings, so just the braided line, as well as the cabin hooks and stuff in the boating sections and we're going to go in, so I'm going to try and keep my voice down. We're going to try and turn on some light. Hopefully it doesn't disturb Maverick, but we'll just give you a quick whip around inside so you can see the interior layout of this van. Alright. I'm hoping that will generally be enough light. All good? Just happy light? Yeah, cool. Rickety door. Alright, so how I laid this van out is I wanted to build a family van on a smaller platform. I see so many family vans out on the road that are 22, 21, 20 foot. You don't need a van that big to do everything that you want to do. This is an 18.5 in terms of its size, and I produced this van to showcase what you can actually fit inside if you nest the layout appropriately. So there is a couple of things though that we wouldn't routinely do in a normal build that I have to make mention. So if Acacia spins around, we've done a offset north-south bed. Now that allows us the walkway here, so you're not using, well, you're using your space really efficiently by having the door at the front to walk around and through the bed. Normally that would be 600 mil of room that you would have to locate at the back of the van, which then makes the layout really difficult to achieve. Also, doing an offset north-south you can have a bigger bed as a result of that. Now this one is only 1880 long, but normally we would do a queen size at 2030 long as well. So so that's a little bit different. So most other 8.5s, the kitchen area would be a little bit smaller. Now I did a couple of mistakes in this van. I wouldn't say mistakes, but not, and maybe regrets, but I built the kitchen on this side. If I had my time again, I would definitely build the kitchen over this side, because the seating area we don't use too much in the van. We're predominantly seated outside and living outside. And then if we're in the van for whatever reason, we're usually on the bed there, Maverick's asleep in there, or we're watching TV. We might eat breakfast here in the morning, but that's about it. So if it was my time again, I would have a smaller seating area over here and enable a larger kitchen over that side. So that's something that I would make mention to do again. Now the other noticeable feature as well in here is the cabinetry is very different. So we no longer do this cabinetry technique. This was more of the line of some old carpenters that used to work for Elross, and this is the old way of doing it. So it's all stick and Meranti framed furniture, which obviously we don't do anymore. So I just have to make mention of that. And also then these LED strips as well up here, we don't do. And if Acacia spins around, there's a couple of reasons why we don't do that. It's very hard to make it work properly and make it workable from that perspective, and it was just a lot of labour hours to try and achieve it in a reasonable manner as well. So that's why we don't do the LED light strips like that. We do an LED light strip under here, which is a little bit more functional for the areas that you want to work in. For example, if you just want to have a LED light in here just to work, it's a lot more functional for lighting. While we stay on that subject, I'm just going to close this because it keeps making noise. While we're on that subject, we've got the induction cooktop off here, over here, and we've also got an air fryer that we take with us. In terms of the air fryer, a lot of people put air fryers in the cupboard space under here, under dedicated drawers. What I've found the best with towing is actually just sticking your air fryer in your sink, if it fits. This is a reasonable size sink, so it will fit in there, so it just depends on the size of your air fryer and all that sort of stuff. Well, I've got a little rubber sink module that we use to just wash all of our dishes in, as in the sink. Just sit the air fryer in there and it's perfect, and it doesn't take up, well, it nests the space better because it's using the sink, which when you're travelling you're not using anyway, and it allows you more room in your cupboard area to store other items as well. Now in terms of the inverter that's in this, and referring back to the off-grid system, it's a very early day system that we did. So this is one of the first vans that we ever did as an off-grid system. So unfortunately the aircon is not on the mains changeover switch to work off the inverter, and that's because the inverter that I put in this van was only a 2000 watt inverter, so it actually won't power that well enough. It does fantastically well with the air fryer, however it's just not juicy enough to continually use the aircon from that perspective. This van also has the mains changeover switch still, which vans up until about last year we were still doing like this, but now with Red Ark's new RS 3000 watt inverter, you don't have to have any of that at all. While we're up here, just the usual stuff that you'd see in most of our other vans as well. That is a trailer odometer, which we don't fit to vans anymore because some of them were fairly problematic, so we just don't use that item anymore. You got your water pump switch, a couple of extra auxiliary circuits for charging your phones and all that sort of stuff. TV strength signal booster, and then obviously the hot water system readout there as well. In terms of the lounge area, it's pretty standard. It's still got the normal Nova Mapper table leg that we use there as well. We've still got the early generation deluxe windows that we fit, you'll notice that these are a lot bigger. We can't get this size anymore, so we've had a lot of requests for people to have that size in their van because it's a really good size, which using this van, it's a fantastic size. Just unfortunately we can't get access to that size anymore. Quickly as well, we've got a Malenko door blind on here as well. We've just got the fly screen door closed at the moment, but it can still give you a good amount of privacy if you want to keep that open during the night as well. And then if we venture further back here, I'm going to be just going to see if it disturbs him or not. We've got the ensuite shower in here. So we've got the shower just in there, which is 8 by 900, which is a really good size for a van of this size, being 18.5 foot. And then we've still got enough room for a sink and also your toilet as well in here. And then you've got your concertina door. If Acacia spins over across here, poor little Mavi's in there having his night's rest. But we've actually made this midgie mesh fly screen. Now this does two things. It stops him from rolling out and falling out of bed at night, so we can get a good night's sleep. And it also helps to keep the all the midges and bugs out, just in case they get in the van during the night. You don't want the poor little buggers to get attacked while they sleep at night, so really good idea. We just got this made by Wilford's Annexes, which, you know, they can do just about anything, or any PVC specialist would be able to do something like this. So I highly recommend that in your family van. And the other thing that I'd like to mention in the back section here as well is that we're obviously using this top bunk because obviously we've only got Maverick. We don't need to use the top bunk. However, it's a really useful space to just store gear. So what we do find is we find a lot of people may only have 2 kids, but they'll still build a triple bunk because you can then use one portion as just storage space, or you can just compartmentise it so you can have all storage underneath here and then bunk. So yeah, so there's a couple of different ways that you can go about it here. But if I was a family looking at a van like this, I'd definitely just add an extra bunk in, so you can either use it as storage space or just make it a storeroom, even if you're not planning to have any more kids. So yeah, so just thought I'd mention that as well. We don't have a washing machine in this one. Not a huge loss, but I do wish that we did do one. So we'll make sure that that's in the next van that we actually construct. If we move back through, just a 190 litre Bushman fridge, which is quite adequate actually. We don't really need too much more than that. And really, I don't think that there's too much more that I have to really show. I'm just going to turn this light off. I don't really have too much more that I have to really deal with in this van. Alright, so that's all we've got for this evening. It's getting really late now, so probably not really the best lighting to be doing this in, but I thought I'd get this video done this evening while we've got some peace and quiet and some time to give you a bit of an insight into how we caravan and what we do with our Elross. So I hope you enjoyed this insight into using an Elross, and if you've got any questions or queries or anything like that, just make sure you shoot the sales team an email, and I'm sure that they'll be more than happy to help. Just remember, this is quite an old Elross, so there's a lot of stuff in here that we just don't do anymore. But it was more a case of just bringing you this video because I just wanted to just give something different to the channel for a change. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like, share and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks guys, cheers.